Dog refuses to give birth, vet sees ultrasound and instantly pulls out phone. She couldn't believe what she was witnessing. She had never seen anything like this before. As she counted, she knew immediately something was very wrong. She couldn't believe what she was witnessing. She had never seen anything like this before. As she counted and continued to count, she knew immediately something was very wrong. One couple, absolute dog lovers, had been fostering and rescuing dogs for years. They especially loved pit bulls, but still, when they saw her in her state, they knew something wasn't right. Maria and Chris had already adopted 10 dogs and were currently living with them. Still, they knew they had to do more to educate people on this kind of breed. They decided to go to their hometown's animal shelter. Only when they got there, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. When Maria and Chris met a couple of years ago, they knew they were meant for each other. Their love for dogs was intense, and they both shared it, making them an excellent couple. They shared their dreams for the future and hoped to one day open a shelter themselves. Even though this couple would love to save all the dogs that go through shelters, they knew this task would be impossible to do by themselves. They settled on one thing: go to the shelter and rescue just one. But as they looked around, they couldn't help but notice something dire. Most of the dogs in the shelter were pit bulls. They walked into Pibbles and More Animal Rescue, or PMAR, not knowing that day would be one they would never forget. The pit bull breed of dog is widely misunderstood. Still, this does not mean they are in any way dangerous. In many states, owning a pit bull is even illegal, so it isn't at all unusual to see so many of this breed in local shelters or rescues. Chris and Maria have had their fair share of adopted pits, but still can't quite understand why these lovable dogs are disliked. But as they walked through the shelter, they had no idea what they were getting themselves into. Pit bulls are seen as the most dangerous breed because of their wide head and muscular body, but scientifically there is no way to prove this. These dogs are completely lovable, caring and loyal. People have found ways to exploit this breed and have made them feared. Chris and Maria knew this, and they were about to meet one particular pup who was more than just amazing. Maria's face fell as she walked through the shelter. She knew this was such an incredibly tough choice. Chris and she had compromised and had come to the decision to just choose one dog that day to take home. Maria saw one sad dog in the corner of her eye, and there and then, she was in love. This sad dog was heavily pregnant. Her belly swayed massively as her tail wagged enthusiastically. Maria couldn't help be taken aback by this beautiful brindle pit, and the pair immediately bonded. "She's the one," Maria said, looking at Chris. But they had no idea what this would actually mean. As they asked the staff about that dog, they soon learned her name was Story and she had been surrendered into the shelter when she became pregnant. Maria and Chris were in love with Story and her massive heart. The staff at the shelter then went on to tell Story that she should have given birth a week ago, but still, she hadn't. They were stumped. They could not understand why she hadn't yet, and this made them extremely nervous. Story needed help and Maria and Chris wanted to help her. As she rested her head on Maria's head, she knew what she needed to do. But would it be too much to bring a pregnant dog into their home? Maria made up her mind. She had to help Story, but still, all of it would prove extremely difficult. Chris came up with an amazing idea that put the couple at ease: foster Story until her puppies arrived and were okay. And that is exactly what they did. They had no idea what was delaying her labor. With all their experience with caring for dogs, they had never encountered this situation. They scouted the internet to see if they could get some peace of mind, but when they read the results, they could not help but start to cry. As they researched the reasons why Story was delaying her labor, it all became more clear. The article talked about trauma and stress that animals who are in shelters and rescues go through, and even more when these animals are pregnant and need to take care of their babies. As they kept researching, they started to realize the situation was worse than they thought. If she didn't have her babies soon, she could lose them. Maria and Chris immediately looked at each other. They knew they had to get Story to a vet. As they arrived at the vet, the technician could not believe her eyes. They needed to perform an ultrasound fast so they could see what was going on. She saw the faint white outlines but couldn't believe what she was looking at. She counted and recounted again. Story should have given birth already. They couldn't explain why she hadn't yet. They all went home in hopes that within 48 hours she would have these healthy babies. However, if she didn't, they would have to bring Story into the vet for another examination. Story was in danger. She might lose her babies if she did not give birth to them within the 48-hour time frame. Chris and Maria Sa were incredibly nervous but wanted Story to be completely at ease with everything. Once they all got home, Maria Sa looked around and had a great idea. They decided to give Story all the space she would need by clearing out a bedroom and putting in comfy blankets and pillows. They wanted Story to feel safe and comfortable, as she had not felt that way in such a long time. As soon as Chris and Maria Sa went to bed, a miracle happened. Everything was prepared for Story to have a comfortable night. But what they wouldn't have expected would be that when they woke up, Story would be nursing her 12 puppies. They were all healthy and hungry little pups, and Maria Sa and Chris soon realized why she had waited so long for her delivery. Dogs having puppies at shelters, it's not the best thing for them. It's stressful for her, stressful for the puppies, Chris realized later. Story hadn't wanted to give birth until she was safe. She was waiting for her opportunity to be taken to a loving home where she and her puppies would be cared for. All Story really needed was to feel safe and protected, and thanks to Chris and Maria Sa, she did. All 12 puppies were beautiful little ones who were more than grateful to be out in the world. In 2 weeks, the puppies had opened their eyes, and Maria Sa and Chris were falling more in love with them by the second. Soon, they were tearing around the garden on their shaky little legs. Requests to adopt them came flooding into the rescue center. They decided not to keep any of the cute puppies, and they all found loving families. One by one, they were taken by their new families to their new homes, where they continue to thrive. Story had found her new forever home too. Soon after, a man read about Story's incredible tale on Facebook, and fell in love with her immediately. Story's new dad became good friends with Maria Sa and Chris, so they can keep close tabs on their miraculous foster dog. Story was an exceptional mom to all her pups. She loved licking them from head to toe, nursing them and playing with them all day long. This mama had been through so much, and now she could breathe easy as she was in complete safety. All 12 miracle babies were adopted by loving families. Story didn't go to her forever home until every last one of her pups had been adopted, seeing them off as the good mother that she is. If it wasn't for amazing people like Chris and Maria Sa, Story's story would have been a disaster. Shelters need all the help they can get, so even if you are unable to adopt, you may be able to foster. If you are unable to foster, then you can donate, or even just help spread awareness about rescue organizations and the amazing animals waiting for forever homes. Chris and Maria Sa are a true example of compassionate and incredible beings. More people should be like them.